Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. Happy Halloween. There's spooky things and creepy memes all over the place if you look around sports. The biggest news in sports overnight this Halloween morning, Jimmy G, baby. Jimmy Garoppolo was traded by New England, the Patriots, to the 49ers for a 2018 second-round pick. Now, to me, this says that the Patriots feel as though Brady, he must have proved that he'll be here until he gets in at the movies at a senior citizen's price. I mean, because he's going to be old in a few years. He's already 40. So the Patriots must believe in the fact that Brady takes great physical care of himself and that he is someone who can sustain, who can stay right there and be the New England quarterback for years to come. Because Jimmy Garoppolo was obviously the successor to what Brady has built there in New England. However, you trade this man, that says that we don't have to look for a quarterback for the next couple of years. Now, no backup quarterback. Who does New England go and get to as of right now, back up Tom Brady and make sure that if he does get hurt, that they've got somebody to slide in there? I mean, do they go sign Colin Kaepernick? I highly doubt it. However, New England needs to find a way to get another backup quarterback because you just trade Jimmy G. And you obviously wanted to get value for this guy because what could you do next year? Franchise tag him, and then he's going to leave anyway, and you don't get anything for him. So I think this was the smart move by management and Robert Kraft. However, where do they go from here? You just traded Jimmy Garoppolo, the future. Where do you go? Now the now the Patriots will have three quarterbacks that were on the roster this year that are now starting for other teams. Jimmy Garoppolo for the 49ers, Jacoby Brissett for the Colts, and Tommy B. Brady for the Patriots. Now, other news that came out, Zeke will be chilling until December 14th. A New York District Judge, Catherine Polk Fela, denied the request for preliminary injunction, which means that he ain't playing. He is going to have to sit down those 6 games like the NFL wanted in the first place. Right now, the Cowboys are 4-3, and they've got to play the Chiefs, Falcons, and Eagles the next 3 games. 3 L's, well, they do get the Chiefs at home. However, I'm still going to say 3 L's. This doesn't look good for the Cowboys. Now, they could come out of this entire thing 3-3 when it's all said and done because they do play the Chargers and Redskins and Giants right after that 3-game stretch, and then Zeke will be back the 17th when they have to go play the Raiders. However, I don't know how this Cowboys offense will do not having that component to their game. Zeke is a big aspect of their run game. Hell, he is their run game. So I think that what the Cowboys will need to do is definitely try to spread it out more. They're going to have to use Dak in the run game more, which they already do, but they're going to have to use him a lot more in the run game because he is an effective quarterback when he runs the ball. He did it for Dan Mullen at Mississippi State. He can do it in the NFL, but you don't want him getting beat up because if Zeke comes back and there's no Dak, I don't think a Super Bowl is anything you could talk about in Dallas. Now, the Houston Texans, they had a shootout in Seattle. Deshaun Watson, he balled out and did exactly what I said he would do for many years to come. 41-38 in that Seattle game. He threw for over 400 yards, forced Russell Wilson to have to throw for 452 yards. Deshaun Watson and this Texans team, for them to show the resolve they showed in light of Bob McNair's comments that he made at owners' meetings last week with the players saying that we can't let the inmates run the prison when it's actually, in fact, we can't let the inmates run the asylum. We can say he messed up the figure of speech. However, what he said was egregious and offensive. But what do the Texans do? They go out, 60 or 70% of players, like Dwayne Brown said, took knees, and they come out and play for each other. Because that's what football's about. Football is family. It's unity. And in times like that, how do you respond? Well, you go out and ball. And that's exactly what the Texans did. And that's what Deshaun Watson did. And Richard Sherman even had to compliment the man because Deshaun Watson is a baller. And Richard Sherman said in the next few years, maybe even next year, he'll be a top 5 quarterback, even with the big dogs like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. So keep doing your thing, Deshaun Watson. You're proving them wrong already. An instant classic this past weekend, Ohio State and J.T. Barrett, please stand up. 19 fourth-quarter points by the Buckeyes. They beat number 2 Penn State 38-39, only led in the game once they won it. They didn't lead the entire game, but they had to score that touchdown, which put them over the top 39-38, and they get the victory. J.T. Barrett, he's in that Heisman discussion, and it ain't just whispers. 33 for 39, 328 yards, 4 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, he was neutralized, only had 44 yards on 21 carries? Ohio State, that's some defense for you in Columbus in the horseshoe. Don't think, Saquon Barkley, that you're just going to run over the Buckeyes like you've done everybody else all year. They were ready for Saquon. Basically shut him down. Now, when the college football playoffs comes out tonight, those rankings, this win will put Ohio State ahead of Oklahoma. I don't care about the fact that Oklahoma beat Ohio State head-to-head. We're talking about right now. Okay? And Ohio State's been in the playoffs before, so you're going to have that recency bias. People talk about that. That will transpire. Now, the seasons that got damaged along the way this past weekend, TCU lost to Iowa State. Now, Iowa State, that helps their cause, but they are not a playoff team, and TCU, the hopes they had are probably done. They were undefeated, but they've got that L now to Iowa State. So, Gary Patterson, get those guys together. Notre Dame beat NC State, which eliminates the Wolfpack from the college football playoff. 35-14, great win for Notre Dame at home. I think it looks clear sailing for them down the rest of the way. They've got to play Miami still. Jim McElwain and the Florida Gators, obviously they won't be in the playoff. They broke up this Halloween after a 42-7 loss to Georgia in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, or whatever it's called. I mean, I should know what that's called because I grew up in the A. But still, Jim McElwain, he's out of there. Florida's never sniffed the playoff. They won 2 division titles, but haven't done much on offense since he's been at the helm. UGA may have gotten 2 coaches beat, by the way, and may have gotten 2 coaches the boot. Butch Jones from Tennessee, he'll probably be out because they're 0-6 in the SEC. 0-5. I know they haven't won a game. They lost to Kentucky this weekend. However, I thought Jim McElwain's press conference was interesting at Florida because after that Georgia beatdown, he talked and said, we just didn't win. He spoke in past tense as though he already knew he was out of the door. So, I don't know. Maybe I don't want a coach that's not mentally tough enough to say, I should still see this as my team until someone else says otherwise. Now, as far as the college football playoff top 4 goes, it comes out tonight. Here's my assessment, okay? My top 4, Alabama, of course, number 1. You got Georgia at number 2 because they've dominated everybody, and they have beaten Notre Dame. And Ohio State at number 3 because of the win over number 2 Penn State and because of the way they rebounded, scoring at least 30-something points in every game. I know 39 was the lowest, but before that, they scored about 40-plus points in every game since their loss to Oklahoma. So I got to put Ohio State number 3 and number 4 Notre Dame, simply because their schedule, their strength of schedule, I really like it. It's strong. They've beaten the USC team. They've beaten NC State. I mean, they've dominated some really good teams. And also, their only loss is by 1 point to Georgia, 20-19 at the crib, at home. However, in this playoff, you'll see that I left out Clemson. Don't like that loss to Syracuse. I think that eliminates them. Even if they win the ACC, I don't see Clemson getting in. And no Oklahoma. Now, they've got the game Bedlam on Saturday, a rivalry against Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State wins that because I want to say it's in Stillwater. I think Oklahoma State wins that game and effectively eliminates Oklahoma from the college football playoff. And that'll clear everything up for the selection committee. Now, moving right along, NBA-wise, Lonzo Ball defeated John Wall last week. Didn't have a great game, didn't have a lot of points, didn't have a lot of assists. But you know what? His teammates came to his defense, and they win the game against the Wizards. After John Wall was talking about how he was going to show no mercy to Lonzo Ball, I'm like, John Wall, where's that no mercy at? Did you really shut the man down? Because his team won. And this just goes to show that the teammates on the Lakers of Lonzo Ball, they play for this guy. They put their bodies on the line for this guy. They play their hearts out for a guy that they feel like can help them win. He's a winner. So let's start believing in Lonzo Ball instead of knocking the man's craft. Now, LeBron and the Cavs, they lost 3 straight. 4 out of the last 5, the 3 straight to Nets, Pelicans, and Knicks. Right now, this doesn't look like a team that's going to make the NBA Finals. And people who have the nerve to come on my Instagram and write, oh, you're tripping. They're still making it. I can't say they're going to make the Finals because they just lost to the Nets, the Pelicans, and the Knicks. Chill out. Was it a mistake to bring Dwayne Wade? I don't know. MLB-wise, World Series, make sure you watch Game 5 tonight. Astros lead the series 3-2. Justin Verlander's on the hill versus Rich Hill. And this World Series has been interesting because people have been talking all year about the balls being juiced up and there's too many home runs. And they've hit a record for home runs in this World Series by knocking out 22. 13-12 in Game 5, and the Astros win it. Can Clayton Kershaw redeem himself if he gets some innings tonight in Game 6? Gave up 6 runs up in the last game, got pulled early, and the Dodgers are on the ropes. Frankly, I think the Dodgers should win the World Series. They've got 2 more games left at home. They've got to win both. So you're in a situation mentally where if you're a Dodger, we know we got to win Game 6 and win Game 7 if we want the chip. Now, it's been a fun, exciting sports week. Make sure you keep watching Zono Sports Show. I wanted to give you a little bit of sauce today. Make sure you tune in. I can't wait to see what happens this weekend in college football and how these college football playoffs continue to shake out for the course of the season. So, thank you so much for watching the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos.